I realized like in a relationship, one my boyfriend was really like driven in career, doesn't have much time for me, and doesn't really think a lot, not for me but for both of us, how we can actually get along better, spend our time better. It's all about his career. And in that relationship, I was almost like dating myself rather than dating him. And dating myself is great. Like, I think everybody should date themselves first before they date other people. But when you're with someone, you need that kind of mutual empathy towards each other, mutual support towards each other. And gradually I realized all those things are external, external things. It can come and go.
Yeah.
Like, like when we interviewed Liu Yang the other day, she said, a career opportunity can come, but when you meet the right person, that's rare. And gradually I realized my value on the most important value I'm looking at someone else is actually empathy. Because ultimately, as a person, you're looking for that connection. And in order to connect, you have to be able to think from other people's perspectives. I think emotional connection can provide such a strong support in your life. And life is not easy, right? I mean, we are very young, but we're both very lucky. But we also experience like some failure or painful moments in our life that we could think, if there's a person can understand me, can actually support me unconditionally, that would be great. So in a sense, maybe I'm a bit selfish in terms of looking for empathy as a main criteria when I'm looking for a partner. But so far, I think my choice has proven me right so far.
So it's the transition going from more exterior focused, I guess it's more of an egoistical thing, where you realize through the actual experience it is not as pleasant as you made it out to be, because it's for example, like flashy jobs, high paying careers and fancy cars. It's just all exteriors, and all of it's used. Well, I'm not gonna, let's say, be an ultra hipster who's living in the east side of London and start to denigrate all of these aspirations. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is the transition is from the understanding that not necessarily, when you said, for example, the reference you used is Liu Yang, who met right person. You can also look at from the opposite end, is when do you know you've met a wrong person?
Exactly.
And I think that's probably more important. Because we often try to look for shortcuts.
Correct.
And plan our life so far ahead that, this is going to work out perfect. By age 30, I'm going to have this. By age 35, I'm going to have that. By age 40, I'm going to have that. And if you did, I guess my analogy is, if you did achieve what you set out to achieve when you're 30, when you're 35, you're essentially falling back.
Exactly.
Because you've not evolved with your targets and goals. But anyway, that's a different topic. But I think this can be traced back to the conversation we were having earlier with respect to who's paying the bills. I think we've gone not off a tangent. We've gone through a big rounded circle. And coming back to this topic, which is, it's not about who pays. It's more about why one should volunteer themselves to pay for the bills, not because it is social traditions, not because it's what everyone expects. How do they internalize the reasons why they pay? If I am going to invite someone out, for sure, I'm happy to pick up the bills. Because that's my responsibility. I'm here to provide a good couple of hours for my friends. I should expect that expenses that it might incur. Conversely, if I'm going to my friends or going out on a date and it's the other end, whether they're male or female, look, I could be anyone. And I would expect the other person would show me a good time. And I'm there as someone who's going to enjoy be present, and whereas the other person is going to provide all the facilities to allow me to have that good time. I guess that's where I see the conversation about who pays the bill.
Yeah.
It's an accumulation of what you just said earlier about the values. Perhaps the value that's more aligned with you would agree with you in those points, those philosophies of why they should pay or they should not pay.
Yeah.
So it's a moral compass that they have, as opposed to say, I'm a guy, you're a girl, that's why I pay. I think that's overly simplistic.
Yeah.
And it's not, it doesn't do good to the gender discussions that we are having.
Yeah, exactly.
Right at this moment.
I definitely echo your point just now. I was also more thinking about we cannot also distill ourselves completely out of a culture. So my personal struggle there was more about sometimes I see paying as a gesture of love. That's like stemming from how I grew up in the traditional society. That's not necessarily correct. I also had a struggle because obviously now I live in Western world and dating in the Western culture. So in a sense that I'm more and more like observing more equal pay, and now
I was just going to go back to the point you made, so
Yeah.
paying as a gesture of love.
Yeah.
So I guess of course, love is a bit of an overly used word, but when you say it's paying out of gesture of love, do you mean this is the value, the perceived value of paying, which is guys taking up responsibility because everyone else expects you to do that, so they do it. So it's more like a fulfilling
I think
of what is expected of them. And I think that's the part where I seem to struggle to understand why people would do that. Is the internalization of the actions that they take. A lot of it is because that's always how it has been done.
Yeah.
And that's why I do it.
Yeah.
For example, a diamond ring should have cost 3 months of your wage.
Oh yeah, that's I was like, oh
Yeah, this is how much suffering you're gonna invest into for the other person. Is that on an equal par? Let's say if you cut out the extra works that you're doing every day and pour that back into the relationship that you're in. Now that then feeds into another problem, which is the person you're dating is what they care about more on the materialistic side, or are they genuinely someone who wants to spend time with you? And what, I guess, made you transition from the person you were before, 外貌协会, to where you are now?
yeah.
I guess there could be also elements where you've achieved a relative, I guess, success. I mean, it's all relative of success. You have a sense of financial freedom, perhaps, which makes you value the other empathetic quality more than you would otherwise value the
Definitely.
the material side.
Definitely. I think it's all comes back to the Maslow pyramid of, needs, right? So once, obviously, if you struggle to eat, if you struggle to have a place to live, obviously, all you think about is fulfill that fundamental physical needs. It's the needs of survival. And once you achieve that, obviously, you're looking for more. Things that matters more. And I completely agree. I'm talking about it from a very privileged position. So it's not saying other people looking for more realistic criteria is wrong. I'm just saying from my personal journey, from a privileged and lucky position, I'm looking for more of characteristic of empathy.